have a little after 12. It looks like 12:01, so I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Can everybody hear me okay? Thumbs up? Yes? Good? Okay, awesome. First of all, I would just want to thank you so much for coming with us today. I know that a lot of us are experiencing some things that we've never experienced before, and so we just appreciate you taking time out of your busy day. I know a lot of you are now managing families and schoolwork and work and employees and your businesses, and so we're just grateful that you took the time to be with us today for an hour. I think this is going to be a great series, a breath of fresh air. I think that we all need as we're navigating through this crisis together. And so I'm Jenna Minyard, for those of you that don't know, at the Montgomery Area Chamber of Commerce, and this is our first official virtual series. And so we launched the Work Together Business Studio back in October of last year. And the intent was just to provide some dynamic programming and events for small businesses and entrepreneurs. And so as we're sort of navigating through COVID and listening to what the business community needs and what they want, Tasha was gracious. We're so grateful for her partnership. She came to us and said that she would love to do a training series with us on how business leaders can navigate through this crisis. And so we're just extremely excited to partner with her and extremely excited to bring this series with you today. Just a quick note on chamber operations before we get started. Just like most of you, we have been working remotely for about 3 weeks now, and we'll continue to do so. We're obviously adhering to the state and the city's call to stay home. But I want you to know that even though we are not at the office, we're not at 600, that we are all working for you. Our mission has not changed. And actually, I think it's gotten stronger. We are really working daily, weekly, monthly, sometimes it seems minute by minute, to give you the critical resources you need to navigate through this crisis. And like I said earlier, we're all in this together. We're going to continue to be in this together. We've got some of our staffers who are reaching out to our small business community over the next week or so, just to kind of gauge what's happening, what's going on, what your needs are, so that we can shift the way that we operate and shift the things that we're doing for you. So we're going to start launching some new programming virtually. Like I said earlier, we're all in this together, and hopefully we're going to be stronger than ever when we come out of it. So just know that we're working for you. We have a staff directory on our website. We've also created a COVID-19 website that has resources and recovery efforts on it. And then I hope you guys are all receiving our newsletters. We're sending those a couple of times a week, and those also have some of the programming efforts that we're launching now. And then they also have the critical resources that you need to get through this. So we all know that leadership looks a little different right now. A lot of us are, like I said, managing households. We're managing our families. We're managing schoolwork because the kids haven't gone back to school. And then we're also managing our companies and our employees. And so we just wanted to bring something to you to help you get through this. We're all in this together. I know I've said that a couple of times. I know you're going to hear that from a lot of other people, but we just decided that this was probably a good time. I think we've been in this for a while, and some of us have sort of settled into what we're calling the new normal, unfortunately for now. And so we're just really excited to bring you this series. It launches today, and then we'll bring it to you the next Tuesday and Thursday for the next couple of weeks. We'll talk about that at the end. But we're just really excited, like I said, to partner with Tasha, which she's just great in the community. She's been doing this for a while, and so we're just really excited that she decided to bring this. So without going any further, I would like to introduce her. She is dedicated to helping individuals and organizations maximize their potential. Tasha is recognized as a prolific servant leader and has an innate ability to target growth opportunities and build strong teams. She's an independent executive director for the John Maxwell team and certified DISC consultant. And she's also the founder of Maximized Growth, LLC, and the 5-year-old Connected Women Win community. With the reputation that precedes her, this 3-time author is often found on stage addressing audiences as a professional speaker, leadership trainer, executive coach, and workshop facilitator. Although Tasha takes great pride in her professional endeavors, she says being married to her husband, Morris, for 22 years and a mother to her teenage daughter, Mila, are the greatest accomplishments. So we're just super excited, like I said, to bring you the Stay Strong, Lead Well series. And I'm going to turn it over to Tasha before we get started. We will be monitoring questions. So if you have any comments or questions that you want us to answer at the end, please use the chat function, and I'll be monitoring those, and then I'll pick it back up when Tasha gets done. Thank you so much again for everybody participating, and Tasha, thank you for partnering.
Thank you, Jenna. It's an awesome opportunity to be in this community. I am super, super excited. And like Jenna said, I love interaction. So I would love if you would, as I'm sharing today, let me know if this resonates with you. Give me an amen or an aha or oh me in the chat. So let's have a conversation today. As Jenna said, this is the first part of a 5-part series on Stay Strong, Lead Well. Our agenda is we're going to be focusing on necessary shifts that leaders need to take during this time. We're all in unusual times. This has been inspired by my mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell, from a book called Leadership. And today we're talking about the clarity shift. And this is the agenda for the rest of the time. Everybody that is on here will actually get the replay. So if you've registered, don't worry if you have to miss one, you will automatically get the replay, and we will always log on to this same link. So as Jenna mentioned, the next 2 weeks on Tuesday and Thursday at 12 o'clock p.m. Central, we'll be having a deeper dive into the conversation. All right. But before we get started with all the serious stuff, I know during this time, if you're like me and you've been scrolling on Facebook, I've been seeing different memes that a lot of them are funny. Some of them are just like hilarious. But I wanted to point this one out for sure today because it says we are just 3 to 4 weeks away from learning everyone's real hair color. And so I'll have to tell y'all, you might see some of my gray popping up in here in this series. So don't judge, okay? Now, the next thing, okay. This is an opportunity. I want to see some engagement in the chat. This is something that came up across my Facebook, and I thought this was really cool because a lot of us are working from home these days. I'm actually at home. This screen is hiding a lot behind here. But during this time, we've had some time to pause. We've had some time to reflect. But this also should be a time where we're still taking care of ourselves. So I want to find out from you, and if you would just indulge me for a moment, if you look at some of these around here, did anybody get bingo today? Okay, we'll start here. Did anybody take a shower today? You got dressed, talked to a friend maybe, or maybe sat with your feelings, gave yourself a compliment. Everybody gets a free pass on the Stayed Alive. Everybody gets a pass on the flowers. Did anybody take a break so far today? How about this one? Did you let yourself cry at any point in time during, maybe not today, but during this? Somebody says, talk to a friend. Hopefully everybody brushed their teeth. But do I have anybody that has bingo when it comes to your self-care? Got 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Maybe you went outside. Anybody, any walkers or runners in here? Did anybody get bingo? I see Ashley Taylor says she talked to a friend. Anybody else? And Jenna, if you'll help me out, I don't see any other chat, any other in the chat. Okay, Rhonda's got bingo.
Talina says, got bingo.
Okay, awesome. Talina says, yes, I challenged negative thoughts. Love it, love it. So this graphic right here, y'all, again, it's all about how to, I mean, right now it's taking care of yourself, listening to your body, all of these different things. So I just want to keep this before you as we're talking today about how to stay strong and how to lead well. I am going to be your tour guide in this conversation. So today, as we dig deeper into the clarity shift, my goal is to help you to walk away from this and learn how to appreciate where you are during this time, how to navigate your way through this, how to refocus during this time, and how to grow. So that's what my goal is going to be today as your tour guide and in the rest of this series. And with any tour guide, I always like to start with the story of my own journey. So for me, you'll see two different pictures here. And the first picture was me back in 2008 when I was actually going through a personal crisis of my own. You see one side of the picture here that looks totally different, and then you see another one where I look like I was doing better. But when you look at this first picture, again, in the chat, what do you see in the first picture? What do you see about my appearance? And by the way, that was a real picture taken out of context to show the drastic difference. But what do you see in one word? Somebody said exhausted, defeat, sadness, tired, sadness again. Yeah. Troubled, stress, all of those things, y'all. Overwhelmed, confused, alone, depressed. Yes, thank you. Aggravated, that too. That was me back in 2008 when I was an entrepreneur. I've been in business for 16 years now, y'all, going on 17 years. And during that time, everything looked good on the business side, but I was falling apart on the inside, and I was going through some crisis. And halfway through that, I got some help and things started turning around, but there was nothing like being on the other side of it. As you see on the right here, there was nothing like being on the other side and learning how to leverage it. So I appreciated the time. I didn't appreciate it while I was going through it. Nobody does. But on the other side of it, I realized that there was a gift in the midst of that that was packaged in the form of a crisis. So when you see this side right here with me with the pink jacket, what are some things that you see? One word. And I'm going to the chat here. Joy, confident, lightness, free, triumph, victory, release, excited. Yes, free, happiness. Yes, love it, freedom. That's exactly what happened. So what was going on during the time where I was all of the opposite, when you're all talking about the depressed, agitated, confused? Again, I was a business owner, y'all. And when I first started out in my business back then, I had a court reporting business. I had one goal, and that was to make money. That was my goal back then. And I had tunnel vision for that. And here's the thing, my first year of that business, I hit the 6-figure mark. But this was all of the things that I was masking: insecurity. I ended up going from the 6 figures to bankruptcy, had a failing marriage during that time, ended up having a cancer scare where I had to have multiple biopsies. I was a people pleaser. I had shame. I had paralyzed in fear, all the while that I was operating a business. And when my back was against the wall, when I went from the 6 figures to the bankruptcy, people didn't, like, I'm looking at this picture right now and I see it, but people didn't really see that back then. All they saw was, man, you're doing good. You've got your business. And I had a team of 20 court reporters that were working with me as subcontractors. Everything looked good on the outside, but there was a huge disconnect. And it was when the crisis happened, again, it was the bankruptcy, it was the cancer scare. I remember even during that time that my husband was working for household finance. And many of you know, back then we had this financial crash where a lot of the banks were closing, a lot of the businesses were closing. And he went to work on a Monday and they said, we're not going to be here anymore. So there was a lot of stuff that, again, I didn't really see it until the crisis happened, and the crisis exposed all of that. But I can't leave y'all there, because on the other side, I'm talking today about how to stay strong so you can lead well. There's some things I had to learn so that I could become confident. I could understand my purpose. In fact, a new business was birthed from that. My marriage ended up being restored. I had a healed mindset, a healed body. I didn't have cancer, thank God. I ended up going from being a people pleaser to being a people helper and was more empathetic with people. And I had a renewed sense of boldness that came as a result of the crisis that we were going through during that time. So today, that was enough of my story. I want to speak to the leader in you, the influencer in you. And everybody knows when you get on an airplane, what does the stewardess say? She says, if this plane goes down, you put the mask on yourself first before you can help others. And so when I thought about this series, Stay Strong, Lead Well, my heart immediately went to you, the influencer and the leader. And I couldn't help but think back to that time when I was struggling, when I was going through my crisis. And I remember how devastated I was, but I also had to remember the things that I had to do to get to the other side of that. And right now I'm telling you about it, but it hasn't touched me anymore because that's not who I am. And now we're all in a place with COVID-19. This is an unusual time. It has forced all of us to pause. It's forced the whole world to bow to its knees, basically. But I want to bring hope to you today to say that this too shall pass. This might be where we are, but this is not where we're going to stay. But as you're listening to this masterclass series, I want you to focus on you, because it is possible for you to stay strong. It is possible for you to lead your business well, for you to lead your team and be the community leader or influencer that you are. But what I want to do above all is make sure that you're taking care of you, because this is an inside out job. So are y'all ready for this? Okay, so today we are talking about part one, the clarity shift. Thank you, Rhonda, for that, Ready. We're talking about the clarity shift, and we need clarity so that we can stay strong. When I was going through the crisis back then, I didn't have clarity at first. But one of the first things that I had to do to begin the journey in that direction of freedom and hope and confidence is I had to get honest. I had to get clear about where I was so that I could become strong. And when I say become strong, I broke that down into an acronym. And that is, in order to stay strong, we've got to stay steadfast. We have to stay teachable. We have to stay ready. We have to stay optimistic. We have to have a never give up mindset. And we also have to have a generous mindset. We're going to break those things down. But today, I want to stay here in this strong space. The next 4 classes that I do, we're going to talk about how to lead well, but we can't lead well if we're not leading from a place of strength. Would you agree? So how to stay strong so you can lead well, that's our focus today. But we cannot acknowledge how to stay strong until we first acknowledge that, you know what? There are times that we do not feel strong. We have to acknowledge that sometimes we feel weak. We have to acknowledge that if we're going to stay strong, first we got to get strong. And sometimes when a crisis hits, or sometimes when life happens, this is what we see. This is what we feel. In fact, some of you may be feeling like this in certain areas, especially when it comes to business, because there might be this sense of uncertainty now about what's going to happen. How long is this going to happen? Will I be able to get through this? And what happens a lot of times is that causes our emotions to get triggered. And what happens when our emotions get triggered? We get anxious, we get scared, we get fearful, and a lot of times it reflects in our physical body. So I don't know about you, but sometimes when I get anxious, my stomach starts feeling queasy, or maybe I'll start getting headaches, and now it's manifesting itself on the outside. So what happens is our emotions tell on us, so to speak. Just like if we were to have a physical on a scar or a wound, it would hurt, and that would be an indicator that we're in pain. Well, that's how our emotions are. Our emotions are indicators that we're in pain. Our emotions are indicators to tell us that we don't feel strong. We feel weak. And I want to just say this before I go on, that when I'm talking about staying strong, I'm not talking about this fake it until you make it stuff. I'm not talking about put your head in the sand or have this Pollyanna attitude where you're just like, oh, everything's good when somebody asks you, how are you doing? Oh, I'm fine. Or if you're my fellow faith people, you're saying things like, oh, I'm blessed and highly favored, but we're not really acknowledging where we are right now. So again, before we can talk about staying strong, we got to first be honest with where we really are, and we have to get strong so that we can stay strong. Are y'all with me? So let me break down this. Thank you, Ashley. Let me break down this acronym STRONG. So the first one, when I said stay strong, we have to stay steadfast. Steadfast means unwavering. That was one of the things that I had to learn when I was going through my crisis, is I had to become unwavering. And here's the thing, it wasn't unwavering in where my circumstances, because my circumstances were what they were. I had to get steady on the inside and make up my mind about where I was going to end up. Who was I going to be on the other side of this? So the first thing is you've got to be steadfast. You've got to make up your mind. Who are you going to be? Where are you going to land? Because this is going to end. And when it ends, who do you want to be at the end of this? All right. So that was the first one, is steadfast. And for me, I'm a person of faith. So one of my core values was steadfast in my faith. The next one is teachable. In order to get strong and stay strong, we have to be teachable. How many times, or how many of y'all know that life has a lot of lessons? And during this time, what are you learning about yourself right now? What is this time teaching you? When I was going through my crisis back then, one of the things that I learned was I never planned for my success. I had a dream to start a business. I had a dream to hit 6 figures, but I didn't have a plan on the other side of that. So when stuff happens, I built my business on a faulty foundation. So it taught me that I needed to go back and seal some cracks in my foundation. I had to get an accountant. I had to build my team, my support team. One of the people on my support team I had was a counselor who also was a life coach. I needed that mental health support just as much as I needed somebody to show me the skills. I needed an attorney. I needed to have a banker. I needed to be taught some stuff so that when I got stronger, I didn't repeat the same mistakes. I had to get a budget. Are y'all following me? So there were some things that I had to learn about myself. Other things that I learned about myself is, why am I impatient? Why did I go after certain things? There's some things right now that we're learning about ourselves during this time. So you have to remain teachable. You have to get ready. And that goes along with what I just said. So we've been hearing a lot of calls, especially in the business arena, about the SBA loan, about the Paycheck Protection Plan. We've heard a lot about those things, but what are we doing to get ready so that we're more prepared on the other side of this? Are we investing in ourselves by reading books? Are we taking courses? Are we solidifying our relationships with our families? Are we getting our finances together? Are we eating right during this time? You know, I'm a speaker, and on the other side of this, I plan on speaking on more stages. Part of my getting ready is making sure that I'm drinking my water and that I'm eating right, because I don't want to lose myself during this time. So there's multiple things that you can do, multiple areas. And I'm not just talking about business, but I am talking about that as well. So we have to get ready so we can stay ready. We have to stay optimistic during this time. We can feed our fear, or we can fuel our faith during this time. And one of the ways that we can feed our fear is that we're constantly binge watching the news. We're constantly talking negative. We're constantly speaking doubt. We're constantly in a state of paranoia because we feel like the world is going to end. Or we can fuel our faith by remaining positive, by feeding ourselves mentally as well as physically. We can have conversations with our support team. We can write our visions. We can recommit to our plans, our business plans, as well as our life plans. These are some things that we can do to get optimistic and stay optimistic. And I'm not saying don't watch the news. What I'm saying is that if we're going to watch it, let's balance it with positive things and stay optimistic during this time, especially because as leaders and influencers, other people are watching us. Our team is watching us, our family, our children, our friends, they're watching us. And so we want to lead with optimism, but we don't want to fake it till we make it. Like I said, we want to make sure that we are pouring things on the inside mentally as well as physically. Okay. Some of us may need to turn off the TV for a while so that we can take that fear and put fear in its place. The other thing for staying strong is never give up. One of the things that I've learned is that for everything that I've gone through that was bad, it has turned into a launching pad for my future, for my destiny. So yes, I went through bankruptcy. I'm not in it anymore, but I have become resilient in certain things because of what I've gone through. My marriage, my husband and I, we are celebrating 22 years of marriage next week, actually. That was one of the things that I could say, that on the other side of this, we're actually stronger because things happened. So what I've realized now is that the things that I've gone through have actually served me as gifts because they have solidified some tenacity in me that I will never give up. In fact, now I can look on the other side of this and say, should I ever get knocked down again? Should life unexpectedly happen to me again? I do have an option. I can be flat on my back, but I always can look up, because giving up is not an option. It is not an option. And so that's something that we have to seal in our mindsets, that COVID-19 happens. All of us are affected, but I don't have to give up during this time. In fact, I can lean in and lean in stronger and ask myself the question, who am I going to be on the other side of this? What life will I have? What business will I have? But I won't give up. And then the other thing is generosity. I believe that in order to get strong and stay strong, I believe that we could build or fuel that spirit of generosity. Now, I'm not talking about just money. You can be generous with your words. You can call people. You can instant message people, text people. How are you doing? You can be generous with your kindness when we have to go out to the gas station, to the grocery stores, to these essential businesses. Are we being kind? Are we being grateful? We can be generous with our positiveness right now. We can be generous in our gifts, our time, our talent. So maybe things have come to a halt for you with business. One of the things that I said is, I'm called to what I do. So COVID-19 is not going to stop me from functioning in what I'm doing. So that's why I reached out to the Chamber of Commerce and said, hey, I have this masterclass series. I'm willing to give it. That's part of being generous. And when you become generous and don't have a scarcity mindset, guess what happens, y'all? You stay in that positive zone. And what I like to call it is sowing seed. You are planting seeds now for where you're going. If you have never heard of a book by Bob Berg called The Go-Giver, I challenge you to go get that book. It's an amazing book for business owners, for leaders and influencers, about how to stay in that place of generosity and always lead with value. These are things, again, on how to stay strong, get strong first, stay strong so that you can lead well. And I mentioned this already, but you do want to ask yourself, who do I want to be on the other side of this? Am I going to take advantage of this time? And I'm not talking about hustling, y'all. Some of y'all on the journey, maybe you need to rest. Maybe that's what you need to do during this time to rejuvenate your body, to rejuvenate your mind. Maybe this is the first time in years that you've had a time to pause or slow your pace. Maybe for you, that's what you need to do on this journey that we're on. For others, maybe it's time to dust off that business plan, and you may have been functioning in business, but have you maximized your potential? Are there untapped opportunities? For others, maybe it's time for you to seal the cracks in your foundation. Maybe you were working on business or leading your company, leading your team, and you didn't have time to work on some of those things that now caught you off guard because of COVID-19. Who do you want to be on the other side of this? Maybe it's time for you to re-engage with your personal health. Maybe it's time for you to up your water intake or focus on your eating habits right now. Lord knows there's a whole bunch of fitness instructors. There's free apps. There's all these different things. There's outside just taking a walk so that we could, again, get back on track with who we're supposed to be, who we should have always been. No shame, no condemnation, but all of us have been given an opportunity to really ask ourselves this question right here: who do I want to be on the other side of this? And again, you've been given a choice and nobody can answer that but you. So I'm not sitting here saying everybody has to buckle down and hustle, hustle, hustle. I'm saying it's time for everyone to locate themselves on the journey and ask themselves and answer honestly, who do you want to be? And then take some time to become whatever that is, because this is not going to last forever. So one of the things that I always like to do with my coaching clients is when they come to me and they say, Tasha, they're here at A and they say, I want to go to B, C, or all the way to Z. I always say, okay, before we can take a step, you have to first take inventory of where you are. And that's how you're going to prepare to become strong and stay strong, is you've got to analyze where you are right now. And one of the things that I love to use is a tool called the SWOT analysis. And if you're in business, I know this is not, you've seen this before, but have you ever done a SWOT on you? Have you ever done a SWOT analysis on yourself? Because I believe with all my heart that the real foundation for our businesses growing, our businesses succeeding, it's an inside out job. It starts with us. Our businesses are extensions of us. Our careers are extensions of us. And so times like this expose us because it reveals the areas that we are strong, but it also reveals the areas that we're weak. So if you'll indulge me for a moment, I would love for you, if you have some paper right beside you, to take some paper out, or just maybe take a picture of this. And I want you to just, for a moment, just take inventory for where you are. Again, I'm talking about so that you can stay strong, because we're going to finish our series in talking about how to lead well from a place of strength. So if you have some paper in front of you, I want you to just do you like a little tic-tac-toe box. And I want you to write the word strength in the top left. And if you're driving, don't do anything. You just keep driving. I want you to write strength. And then I want you to take a moment and I want you to just write down, what are my strengths? What am I good at? What are the things that people compliment me on? And if you're bold, I would love to see some people put it in the chats. Where are you strong already? And these are areas that nobody has to convince you. Nobody has to twist your arm and beg you to be this. You already know this is an area that I'm strong. Some, it might be, I am strong in listening. I am strong in communicating. I am strong in building a team. I'm strong at motivating people. Okay, thank you. Monette says, I'm strong with connecting with people. Elisa says, helping others. Love it. Who else? Ashley says, determined, attentive to detail. Talina says, encouraging others. How many of you all are good at singing? You're good at an instrument. You are good at numbers. Lakeisha says, I am strong at listening, speaking, helping others, and encouraging people. Love it. So these are all the things that you know. Nobody has to convince you that you're strong in. This is good. So now I want to go to the other side of this, the weakness. This is where I always say, for every strength, there's a weakness. Now I want you to, and I like to substitute this and say area of improvement. Now I want you to think about where do you feel like you need to improve? Is it in your finances? Is it in your physical health? Is it in communicating and talking to people? Where do you feel like you know that now is a time for me to hone in and focus on this area of improvements? And okay, so Joanne says negative thinking. Thank you. Finances. Being more patient. Structure. Health. Lakeisha says being committed, second guessing myself, motivating myself. Finances. Stubborn. Listening. Only my opinion. Yeah. And a lot of times when I take people through the SWOT analysis, people can come up with weaknesses a lot faster than their strength, but you still have to know both. The other part of this is opportunity. Now that we are here, okay, because we're not going to ignore our reality. We're here. We're understanding our strengths. We're understanding our weaknesses. What opportunities are in front of you right now? And I always like to say, this is the box where you dream out loud. What are your dreams if people's opinions didn't matter? What are the opportunities if your finances were not a hindrance for you? What are your opportunities if you knew that you could not fail? What are your opportunities that maybe you think that you missed out on, but you still have that desire? What is that? And this can be financial, it can be emotional, it can be physical, it can be spiritual. But what are those opportunities that maybe you haven't even said out loud before, but you desire them? Maybe it's, I want to go back to school. I want to increase my skills in this. I want to build a bigger team. I want to connect more with my team. Maybe that's a hidden opportunity right before you. Monette says, time to write the books, develop workshops, develop consistent health routine. Yeah, thank you for saying that, Monette, because maybe now is the time to pick that dream back up. This is an opportunity for you to take inventory and revisit those things. Brittany says, growing in my faith, finishing school, using technology to expand my reach, having a successful business, and finish my degree. Thank you for those, y'all. So now we got to go to the threats. In this, I always have to ask, we acknowledge our strengths, we acknowledge our weaknesses, we reconnect with our opportunities, but we always have to ask ourselves when it comes to the threat, what is stopping me? In fact, I want you to write that down on your paper. What is stopping me? And if you say me, I'm stopping me, you got to be specific. If you say fear is stopping me. Fear of what? Is it fear of success? Is it fear of failure? Is it fear of the uncertainty of all of this because you just don't know what's going to happen on the other side of this? What's stopping you? And until we can get honest about that, then we really can't talk about getting strong or staying strong. I forgot to add, that's the caveat in all of this is honesty. So this is a little exercise that I take people through to take inventory of your life right now so that you can ask and answer the question, who am I going to be on the other side of this? What will I have? And another question that I want to ask you is, once you take inventory and you're honest about the things that I'm sharing today, you have to ask, will my business be worthy of me? Not will I be worthy of my business. Will my business, will my dream, will my career, will my job be worthy of me? You get to decide the outcome. And again, I am not saying this fake it until you make it. I am not talking about hustling because I'm team sleep. I hustle if you have to, or hustle if that's your thing. But what I'm saying is, on the other side of this, we're gonna see it. Who will you be? Will your business be worthy of you? Will you have done the things that is necessary of you? Will your team be worthy of you? These are questions that we get to ask and answer. For me, I didn't even realize that on the other side of the crisis, the bankruptcy, the cancer scares, the failing marriage, during that time, the insecurity, being a people pleaser, I didn't realize that if I stayed steady, if I stayed teachable, if I stayed ready, if I stayed optimistic, if I had the never give up attitude, if I stayed in that generous mindset, I didn't realize that on the other side of this would be Tasha 2.0, that I literally would be reinvented in ways that I couldn't even imagine. So what's come of this is, not only am I still an entrepreneur, knock on wood, but now my business has a much better chance of thriving because I'm healthy. And now my business has a healthier leader leading it. And so now I can attract the right team members. I can attract the right opportunities. I can attract the right clients. I can attract the finances that I need, because the crisis revealed and exposed me, yes, but the crisis also helped serve as a stepping stone for my next. So now I'm sitting on Tasha Scott Group, which is the umbrella for maximize growth, the Connected Women Win community, that being an executive director for the John Maxwell team. My marriage is restored. 22 years, knock on wood, next week. I'm a parent of a teenage daughter. Y'all know that takes strength all by itself, right? So these are things that were on my other side. So that's my presentation today. Part one is, if we're going to stay strong so we can lead well, we've got to stay steadfast, teachable, ready, optimistic, never give up, and generous. And again, these next 4 sessions that you have with me, we're going to lean in on how to lead well from a place of strength. Jenna, I'm going to turn it back over to you to open up for any questions that anyone may have.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. That was exactly what we needed, a little breath of fresh air today. So thank you. We are going to open it up to questions. If you have any questions or thoughts or comments, if you want to post them down in the chat, I'm happy to assist and get those answered for you. While we're waiting for some of those, I do want to just say something really quick. It was going to be in my close, but I think now is a perfect opportunity to say it. You know, the mission of the Chamber is to catalyze leaders, and we do that so that we can improve the economic prosperity and the quality of place for Montgomery. And so we need leaders now more than ever to stay strong through the crisis. And hopefully, you know, we're just as anxious as everyone else to get through this. It is not, obviously, it's been a devastating situation for our community and for our country. But we're anxious and we're excited about what's going to happen on the other end. And so if we can just stay strong, if you can lead well through this crisis, then we think that Montgomery is going to be better than ever. And so we're just, like I said, excited about the opportunity, excited about this partnership, excited about this breath of fresh air. and excited about the series. So thank you again for wanting to partner with us to do it.
Absolutely. And I would love to know if there was one of these letters, if people can put that in the chat, maybe there was one of these that stood out to you more than the other, or maybe it was the SWOT analysis. What stood out to you the most today? And Jen, is it a, go ahead. Go ahead.
Generous. You know, everyone is anxious, everyone is fearful, everyone is having different emotions. We're all dealing with different things. Like I said, some of us are dealing with families at home and working from home, which seems like you're never not working. And so the generous, we can always just be nice, because you have no idea what the other people that you're coming into contact are dealing with.
Yeah.
It's a stressful time for everybody. And so if we can all just be nice, and just say thank you. I think I've said thank you more to the people that I've come into contact with in the service industry than ever before. The people who were stocking the shelves at the grocery store, the cashiers, bless their hearts, because they're essential. They're not able to stay at home, but they're doing that for us. And so I think if we can all be generous and stay generous and just say thank you, I think it means a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love these responses that are coming in. Being teachable, that's huge, because as leaders, I think when I went through my crisis the last time, I prolonged it because I was trying to handle it on my own and suffering in silence and not asking for help. And a lot of it was pride. Mm-hmm. A lot of it was because I didn't want anybody to know that I was not okay, that I wasn't strong, but meanwhile, I was hanging on by a thread. And I think we have to just stay teachable, because if we let people in, oh my gosh, the power of connection. And that's one of our topics. It's so real and so needed for us as leaders.
Exactly. And that's really what we do. We want to connect people to people and people to resources.
Yes.
The connection and the engagement is more important, I think, now, and more critical than ever.
Yes. And I appreciate you in the chamber for embracing this connection.
Absolutely. That's what we're all about.
Yes.
It looks like Joanne said, what is one thing you would tell leaders how to maintain human connectivity to those they serve in this new world of social distancing? That is a great question.
Yes. One of the things that I knew from the get-go that I needed to reach out to my clients individually and just check in before business. Just how are you doing? Are you doing okay? Is there anything that I can do to help? I've been sending resources to my clients. Last week or a couple weeks ago, my mentor, Dr. John Maxwell, did a virtual summit. So I made sure all my clients had access to it. I have been reaching out to my individual clients and really adding more value, and not really trying to do it from a place of, oh, I want to make money. Though, yes, we are in business, but I want to make sure that my clients understood how valuable they are to me during this time, and putting people first. I have even received handwritten cards from people during this time, and it's so sweet to open up the mailbox and just see that human touch. Thank God for video conferencing where we can see people's faces. And I've on purpose reached out to friends. I even had a family reunion on Zoom.
Oh, wow.
Just this past week with my sisters and my cousins, and we're all over the world. And that was really special, and not to mention just the members in my own house. We've been intentional. My husband and I, we went for a walk. We go for walks. My daughter and I, we do things. She makes sure we play Uno and Monopoly a lot.
Which is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I hope that helped.
I know it did. It's the human element. It's the emotional part of what we're all going through. And so even just a touch, just as simple as a note or a call, I think is refreshing to a lot of people.
Yes.
It looks like we don't have any additional questions. So when we leave this session today, if you had one last thought, Tasha, or one last comment that you wanted to share regarding strong or the SWOT analysis for leaders, what would that be?
I would just say, using that word connection, stay connected more than anything, or now more than ever, stay connected. It's okay to have moments where we're sitting in our feelings and we're sitting in our emotions. It's okay to feel where we are. I think that's the humanness in us. You know, I've talked to people that said, I've cried, or I've talked to people that have said, I miss people. I miss just the interaction. And I think more than anything, we just have to stay connected. And staying connected is sometimes having to take off our superwoman or superman cape and just being a human.
Sorry, I'm having a little interruption.
That's okay. That's being human, right? That's funny.
Do you want to put up the slide for the next session?
Sure.
We can
Sure.
review this really quick.
Absolutely. And I will say this, I don't know if everybody can see, but this book right here, Leadership, this was the book that inspired my thoughts behind even starting Stay Strong, Lead Well. This is by John Maxwell. The other parts of this are going to come from this book: the communication, connection, collaboration, cooperation, and community. Again, I mentioned at the beginning, all of us are having to adjust to what this looks like. And every day something's changing, something's different. But one of the things that I do know is that our normal is no more. Like, we all are going to have to adjust to a new normal when all this is over. We're never going to be the same from this. Just like when 9/11 happened, we're all different from that, and other things that have happened in our world. And so what we can do as leaders to stay proactive in this is go ahead and just not resist the shifts, but really just ease into the shifts. And that's the thing that's going to be able to help our businesses, our communities, our teams to be able to thrive and function in this and on the other side of this.
That's right. We were strong going into the crisis, and we're going to need to be even stronger coming out of it. I totally agree. Excuse me. So you'll see the next session is going to be next Tuesday, and then next Thursday, and then the following Tuesday and Thursday. So we just hope that you guys stay connected with us. I know Tasha is available. She's got her information. She's going to be forwarding out the recording to all of those who participated. The link that you received for the registration today is the registration link that you'll need for all of the sessions. So we hope that we'll see you back next Tuesday at noon. And just once again, from a chamber perspective, just know that we're here for you. Just please reach out if you need anything. Again, our staff directory is online. You can reach out to anyone. And then also just, be sure that you're using the resources that we're providing. We're sending the newsletters out. If you're not getting those, please email one of us. We're happy to add you to that list. And then also just remember that we have up-to-date critical information with regard to resources and recovery efforts on our COVID website. And so that changes by the hour most days. And so we're just going to continue to, like I said, connect you to the critical resources you need to hopefully get to the other side of this. And so as we leave you today, like I said earlier, we just encourage all of you just to stay strong in your leadership, stay strong in your faith. And we're just, like I said, just as anxious as you to come out on the other side. And we know that if we stay strong and we lead well through this crisis, we'll be even stronger on the other end, which means Montgomery would be a better place. So just thank you again, Tasha. Like I said, just a breath of fresh air today. So thank you for doing this. And I personally look forward to the rest of the sessions.
Thank you. And Jenna, Linda pointed out, and I made a mistake on this, this 4/22 should actually be 4/23. So it is Tuesdays and Thursdays for the next 2 weeks.
Awesome. And we have updated our calendar, even though we have postponed a lot of our events that were currently on our calendar. We are using the calendar now to post webinars and sessions and calls from us and from outside organizations. So we're posting all of the SBDC, all of the SBA stuff on there, some of the BCA things that are happening. So we encourage you to stay connected with the calendar. It'll have all the information that you need and the registration links as well.
Love it. And if anyone has any questions about anything that I shared today, please feel free to reach out. I am Tasha at TashaMscott.com. My website is TashaMscott.com. And I would love to help anybody navigate through this, especially when it comes to that SWOT analysis. Sometimes taking inventory is easier said than done.
Agreed. Especially on yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, but thank you again, Jenna.
Thank you, Tasha. We'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks again for all the participants. We know this is a trying time, and so we just appreciate you taking the time out to be with us today, and hope that you got something out of it. So again, I think the message is just stay strong.
Yes. Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.